Arsenal have had their way and have made hay shine upon their title-winning credence at the London Stadium over the weekend. Exactly what happened. They were able to get a goal in the 83rd minute that actually gave them light at the end of the tunnel. However, this particular sequence you see here happened inside added-on time when the team, West Ham, felt that they should have had an equalizer not chalked off. If you've had the privilege of listening to exactly what the referee, Chris Kavanagh, was transmitting from his ear to the Stockley Park, which is where the VAR center for the EPL is, he actually did not see anything wrong with the challenge that was going on or the melee that was going on in the box. It was the guys in the VAR room who actually kept looking. And it said in the world that if you actually keep looking, you definitely find something to make it rule something out. And that's what happened in their case. However, there were some interesting tactical tweaks across board, which at least West Ham seem to have had answers to till Arsenal shot themselves in the foot. Let's get into it and let me hit you with some more interesting stuff. So Arsenal, actually, we're going to play in a 4-2-3-1, but on the pitch, they started playing in a shape that made it, they were actually 3 center-backs or 3-back system and pushing everyone else forward and possibly playing 4 people up front. But did it work? For some time, yes, it did. So occasionally, they had Declan Rice go this way to pull one midfielder with him from West Ham in that regard, leaving Lewis Kelly alone in midfield to be able to take the ball, turn, and then drive. And then for their back four, Ben White was not pushing up. He stayed in the right back position, being assisted by Saliba and Gabriel. For Calafiori, he had to invert into this particular position, doubling up and helping Miles Lewis Kelly here, and Eze normally drifted onto the right-hand side because he started the game ahead of Ødegaard. Now, that system continued as Arsenal kept on using this part of the pitch. They overloaded the side of the pitch to try and hit the team West Ham. Now, what it meant was overloading this part of the pitch meant that there were runners constantly on Arsenal's left-hand side, allowing the likes of Trossard, Calafiori, and occasionally Gyökeres to get behind the West Ham defense. So for large parts of the first half, Calafiori was getting all the clear-cut chances at the back post, and he was the one who was causing a lot of incursion for Arsenal. Now you move it along, and it was still literally very much so the same. So he gets to really move the ball on the other side. Yes, he gets to move the ball on the other side. West Ham trying to go man-to-man in that situation. But something happened. So Ben White went off injured in the mid-portion of the first half, and that is where Arsenal, Arteta actually made a tactical error. What was the tactical error Arteta made? Let me point it out to you. So Arteta brought in Zubimendi for the substituted Ben White, which was tactically wrong. Why? Because you then push one of your best players, Declan Rice, into the right-back position, trying to create that same synergy on the right-hand side of attack for Arsenal to free up guys on the left. But it was not working. That is when West Ham discovered that they could actually hit Arsenal harder. So the likes of Diouf and the likes of Somerville were really just pushing and hurting Arsenal on that side. It continued for the entirety of the first half. After Ben White went out, Arsenal's possession and imprint on the game declined. Now, in the second half, a lot of things again changed. What did Arteta do in the second half? He called out Calafiori, made him sit on the bench, and then went on to now introduce the man. He introduced a very special player. Yes, and also Mosquera was the man who came in for Calafiori. So Mosquera then went on to play at right back, and Miles Lewis Kelly was shifted to left back. So brought in some bit of equilibrium into the game, allowing Zubimendi to be paired in the middle again with Declan Rice. This again proved to be one of the genius strokes in the game for Arsenal. That is a reset all over again. So creating all the overloads and having Gyökeres constantly running behind the defense. This was particularly difficult for him since Mavropanos of West Ham was constantly stuck with him. It was more of a man-marking situation from Mavropanos, who is a former Arsenal player in that regard. Saka's imprint in this game was very, very minimal, and he had to be substituted for the man Madueke. But for Arsenal, or for West Ham, they actually kept on exploring that particular part of the pitch, that is the left-hand side of Arsenal, or the right-hand side of Arsenal, sorry. So they through their movement with the likes of Juve and Bowen, ensured that Mosquera and Saka were all yellow carded because they could just not keep up with the defensive possibilities and requirements being asked of them. Now you look at other things that happen. So Saka was taken out and Madueke comes in, and all of a sudden Madueke, Kai Havertz, Ødegaard seem to just change the game for Arsenal. How do they do it? Madueke provides a lot more width and a lot more pace than Saka was doing the entire game when the lasting time that he did or took on the pitch. So Madueke provided more on that side. Now, Havertz also brought more fluidity into that line where he was constantly combining with Madueke and Ødegaard. And this was part of what actually led to their goal, which was scored by the man Leandro Trossard. Now, the question is, this whole VAR situation, should the goal have stood or should the goal have not stood like it did? Well, that is where it all comes down to. But let's look at the consequence of this goal not standing. Now, this goal not standing means West Ham can blame they going down this season on this goal. Arsenal could thank this goal for getting them across the line. However, there's one more tricky part to this entire equation. Crystal Palace seem to hold the key to who would become eventual champions in the EPL. We'll break down Crystal Palace's game next week and see what Glasner is planning after he meets City and what he has in store for Arsenal. So this is how Arsenal actually escaped with the skin of their teeth and are hoping to annex the first EPL title in 22 years. That has been